Welcome to the Strenuous Life Radio, the podcast where leaderpreneurs, entrepreneurs, and men and women learn the essentials and soft skills of the strenuous life. You know, normally on crappy days I let JR take over, but this one I'm taking over because it helped me feel better. We're talking about changing our emotional state. Over to you, Tony Robbins.
Today is about how to get what you really want out of your life on a consistent basis. Now, in order to get what you really want, you got to know what it is, which for most people is a unique concept. Seriously, when I ask people, what do you really want? The answer I usually get is something like, well, I don't know, or something general like, well, I wish I had a better relationship. I wish I could start my own business. I wish I had more money. I wish I could be more successful. The challenge with all those responses, they're so general, and they're not what you really want anyway. People don't want relationships. People don't want money. They don't want businesses. They don't want to be thinner. What we all want are the things we think we're going to get from those changes in our lives. Everything that you really want in your life comes down to one thing. You want some kind of change in how you feel, or what I call a change of state. The state of mind or body you're in at that moment in time. We all want to change how we feel. Think about it. The only reason you want more money, you don't want little pieces of paper with pictures of deceased notables on it, do you? Of course not. You want money because of what you think it'll give you. You think it'll give you more freedom, more fun, or the ability to give to other people. You believe it's going to lead to some kind of pleasure if you want it. Say, I want a business. Listen, I know a lot of people in business who don't want their business anymore. The bottom line is it's not the business you want, it's what you think a business will give you, the feeling changes you think it will give you. Somebody says, I want to get married. They want to get married because of what they think that will give them. Or I want a relationship. They think it's going to give them a certain kind of feeling. That's what drives all of our behaviors. Challenge me on this. See if you can find an exception. Is there anything in your life that you really, really want that the reason you want it doesn't come down to eventually some feeling you're going to get if this thing happens in your life? I'll tell you that over and over again, no matter what exception someone's trying to find, if I keep asking them, well, why do you want that? But why do you want that? But why do you want that? Eventually they get to a point where they go, well, because it makes me feel good. And so that's what we really want. We want to feel good. We want to have those special feelings inside. In other words, we just want to be able to manage our emotions, manage our states, and create what we really want emotionally in our lives. Everything we do, we've already said, is to create pleasure. That's an emotion. And to avoid pain. That's an emotion too. And if we want to change our behavior, the quickest way to do that is change how we feel. I mean, think about it. Have you had a situation in your life where you did something, and after you did it, you said to yourself, I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I did that. That was so stupid. And you in a situation like that, I mean, man, you're normally pretty smart in it. You just did something really dumb. I know I have plenty of times. Haven't you also had the opposite experience, though? Where you were on a roll, where things were just flowing, where it was like you were unstoppable. And you don't even know how you were doing it. You were just like flowing, you know, or after you did it, you know, somebody said, you do that? You know, yeah, that was me. And you don't know how you pulled it off. You were rather proud of it, though. Haven't you had those kind of times when you're just on a roll? So I got a question for you. What's the difference in your behavior? Why is it in one situation you perform brilliantly, in another situation you perform, how should we say, brutally? The difference is not your ability. What we do at any moment in time, in that moment, is based on the state that our mind and body is in at that moment in time. In other words, what people can do is absolutely incredible. What they will do is usually disappointing. And the difference is not their capability, but rather what state are they in right now. If every time they think about public speaking, they associate fear or pain, that's going to change their state. Also, they're going to feel tight in their body, their whole emotional state will change, and they're not going to get the most out of themselves. But if whenever they think of public speaking, they think of absolute pleasure, they're going to be in a great state of mind, and they're going to get more out of themselves. I mean, think about it. When you're feeling really frustrated, do you behave the same way when you're feeling like you're on a roll and things are flowing? Obviously not. You have the same ability, but things act and behave differently coming out of you. You speak differently, you communicate differently, everything changes. I'll give you another example. Have you ever forgotten something simple like your own home telephone number or address or how to spell the word the? Have you had one of those enlightening experiences? Now, you know how to spell the word the. How come you couldn't remember? The answer is because you're in what I call a stupid state. Right? You're in a state of mind where your brain wasn't able to get a hold of the answers. The answers are there, but you couldn't get there. So I believe one of the most important things, probably the most important thing that you and I can do in our lives to create the power and joy and passion that we really want is to learn to manage our own states of mind. In fact, think of the cost of not managing them. If you don't manage your emotional state, it'll cost you virtually everything you want in your life. Friends, family, success, and just the joy that every one of us wants to experience on a daily basis. Let me ask you a question. Is what happens in your life the thing that determines how you feel at any moment in time? Yes or no? In other words, it doesn't matter whether or not, for example, the economy is doing really strong as to whether or not you feel good. Most people say no. Some people say, well, you bet. No, it doesn't matter how your relationships are going. Does that determine how you feel? Is how you feel determined by the weather? By how much sun or rain there is? Is it determined by how other people treat you? I'm going to tell you the answer to that is no. I'm not saying that it doesn't complement or support you feeling one way or another. I'm saying how you feel at any moment in time is purely designed and the result of how you are directing your own mind and body at that moment. What I'm saying to you is no matter what is happening in your life, you are in control of your own states. And once you understand that, number one, and number two, you use that ability, you now have control of your life at a whole new level. And you have more fun and joy and passion than you ever dreamed of once you take that responsibility and take that control. Now, for some people, when they say, well, that seems like a heavy responsibility, well, look at the opposite. What's the price of not managing your states? Well, I'll ask you a question. What does John Belushi, Elvis Presley, Freddie Prince, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and Marilyn Monroe, what do they all have in common? They're all people who never learned how to manage their state. That's what.
You know, we're talking the strenuous life here. But I know the way I can change my emotional state. I know I've had kind of a big crappy day today, so it's time to turn that around. So I'm going to do a little physical therapy while we talk. You see, you can sit there and dwell on the negative crap that happens every day. The downs. We can be swaying good about the ups and put down on the downs. What's important for you is to find an equilibrium, an emotional equilibrium. The thing that we're dealing with right now with our reactive culture is that it's easy on social media to compare our lives to others. Yesterday, I looked on one of the outlets. I saw, my brother's arrival to his vacation this weekend. And the moment I thought, man, I'd give anything to be able to get out of the house for a good, serious period of time. For a few days to a week. I don't know where it is, but there's times I sit there and I think, well, I'm just stuck here. There's nothing I can do. I can make phone calls. I can text. More importantly, I can pray. That's what I did before I did this podcast. And I asked the Lord, I said, look, you need to tell me what to do because I'm starting to lose hope and faith. And the Lord said, well, Jimmy, you've been meaning to do this podcast episode about changing your emotional state. Why don't you change your emotional state? So I thought, well, I'll just include Tony Robbins in there. And we're going to hear a few more minutes of Tony Robbins, and then I'll come back and wrap this up. Back over to you, Tony Robbins.
all were people that had every reason in the world to be happy by anybody else's standards, but who destroyed themselves, literally killed themselves in the end. I believe she's one of my favorite examples. Why? Because I like this guy. Didn't you? Wasn't this a fun guy? I mean, if you were to think of somebody, didn't you feel like this guy that you could connect with? I don't know about you, but I really enjoyed it. And millions of other people would as well. He had what most people would think would make them happy. He had all these people that loved him, appreciated his work. He got to be creative. He was in movies. He was in television. He was on Broadway. I mean, here's a guy that was spontaneous. He had a great family that totally loved him. He had all the money and fame that most people think that they could possibly want or need. And yet he's not here. How come? He's dead. Why? Not because of old age, you'll recall, but because this man did not know how to control his own emotions within himself, and he tried to change the way he was feeling by using drugs.
You know, that reminds me of Elvis Presley. I gotta say this, he was an icon for a generation. You talk to any baby boomers or some of the olders from Generation X, and they will tell you how much they loved him. I loved Elvis. You know, he would sing about the Lord, or he would have have these awesome rock songs that were beautiful, and his Christmas songs were absolutely beautiful. And you know, it's like in public, he was there. He was happy and everything. But when you ask him at the end of his life, Elvis, are you happy? He said, no, I'm not happy. I'm lonely. And so Elvis, sadly, I found out what happened to him. He hid himself in booze and pills to deal with his pain. He had the right political ideology and attitude and everything, but he didn't know how to properly change his emotional state. And so that's something that is important as a part of the Strenuous Life. Now, I hope you enjoyed listening to the Strenuous Life Radio. If you like what you hear, please subscribe. Become a part of the Strenuous Life family. This is Jimi Hendrix saying until next time. Don't sit there and take it. Build your dreams so you can take it. Do what others don't so you can be what others won't. Do what others don't so you can have what others can't. And you think strong, and you live strong, and you live the Strenuous Life. If you're lonely, I understand. God bless you. He'll watch over you. I want you to have a blessed day.